noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome in 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard. Time to make the donuts, folks. Let's go.
And we're making the donuts in style because we're at the Spa Trouvé.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna be baking the donuts, but not eating them, maybe.
Spa Trouvé here in your neck of the woods, man. Saratoga.
Yeah, we're excited to be here in Saratoga. Saratoga symbol. I'm feeding you today. Well, actually, Angie is feeding you today. I think Angie's picking up the food. I was just talking with Courtney, who's the owner and the originator of Spa Trouvé, and she said, yeah, Angie's out. I think she's getting the sandwiches. So, hey, heads up. It's a Thursday. You don't want to spend money. Last time we went home with extra sandwiches, and I don't want to leave with any extra sandwiches. And Parker can only eat so many, and Courtney can only eat so many. And our amazing staff here at Spa Trouvé can only eat so many. So
I mean, we'll give it a good effort. I mean, we'll try, but we don't.
Girls behind the desk, I'm going to need you to really man up on these sandwiches that come in. It's time to eat, because I know Courtney's going to eat more than 2 or 3. So excited to get the sandwiches, but we'll be feeding you. And come in, find that perfect gift idea for your mom or your wife or for you.
Or just you.
How about feel better about yourself?
Exactly.
A little Brotoxing.
Brotox, get yourself taken care of.
Take care of those forehead wrinkles.
Clean yourself up a little bit. Come on.
No reason to look like a pug dog.
No, there's no reason. There's a lot of opportunities out there for you to clean up your mug and make you look good. So there's a lot we will be talking about throughout the day. But again, we're live here at Spa Trouvé in Saratoga Springs. So make sure to come down, hang out with us. We'll be here until 3 o'clock. We got a lot on our plate today. It's a busy day today.
Well, there's a lot on the plate, and I'm excited to talk with Tim LaComb, former BYU basketball assistant, because what's going on? What's happening? Is BYU in just a full-on shift to say we're all in on basketball? Is that what's happening here?
Kind of feels that way.
Well, I really don't think I could even drop a number of what they offered Chris Burgess to leave the University of Utah, his beloved University of Utah.
Alma mater, where he played. They lured him away from BYU once, and now BYU gets him back. I was told it was substantial.
I would imagine it would have to be. And it's not like they got a hometown discount on their head coach.
No.
Some of those offers have leaked out, and we've seen numbers into the $4 million per year. And he's now able to put together a staff, and it's like I'm looking at it thinking, all right, whoa, but did I miss something? Are you shifting to be a basketball school? Because if that's the case, then we need to have a little bit of a conversation about where you're allocating and what your push is.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have any say with any big decisions that are made at that university, but Scotty, I just feel like a good football team is more lucrative. Maybe it's more expensive, but it feels like if you got a better football team, it brings in more money for the university.
Yeah, football's the thing that makes it all go. But here's what I think a lot of schools are looking at right now in terms of where can our money have the biggest impact quickest in terms of NIL. And there's a lot of schools out there that are, and I'm not saying this is how BYU's looking at it, but there's a lot of schools that say, okay, we've got 85 guys over here. We got 13 guys here. So what can we do to make an immediate impact as quickly as possible? Well, it might be basketball. Like there's schools like UNLV, New Mexico. There's a couple others out there that said, you know what? We're okay where we're at football-wise. Football doesn't need to be great because we could spend a lot of money and still not put a dent in what we'd have to do in football. But what we can do is take a lot of money and put it into basketball, and we can be great immediately on the basketball standpoint. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that because I think you're right. I think football is better for your long-term athletic program than basketball is. But I think there are teams out there that are looking at it, or athletic programs that are looking at it and saying, okay, cost analysis, we can make a bigger impact quicker with a smaller amount of dudes on the basketball side, and let's go that route.
I do wonder a little bit with the breakout of the Big 12. You know, the Big 12 in terms of a football school would be a kind of a 2A. You know, I mean, the Big 12 is a good conference, and it's got good schools, and I actually think it's improving with the schools that it's adding, and I think it's got a lot of room for growth, but it would be like a 2A football league.
Yeah.
BYU's basketball team is participating in the NBA of college basketball.
Yes.
And so I wonder if that has something to do with it. Like they're looking around like, hey, that was a lot of fun what Coach Pope did last year.
Yeah.
And he kind of did it out of the blue. And he kind of did it by assembling some talent and a good vision of what to do with the talent and what's possible. What's possible? If we throw a few million at this every single year, what's the possibilities? How far can we go in the biggest league in college basketball? Because all you got to do is finish in the top 6, and you're staring down a 3 seed.
Oh yeah,
or better.
Easily. And the problem is here, if you're BYU, you had that great year last year. Guess what? It doesn't mean anything. You lost Duquesne in the first round, and you're starting from scratch. And if you don't support that program at a high level year in and year out, you will be a bottom dweller in that league really fast. So I'm sure Kevin Young, goes into that conversation with that administration of BYU and said, look, I'd love to be your head coach, and I would love to run this program, and I would love everything about this. But I'm going to need this, this, and this, and I'm going to need my assistant pool to be at this number, and I'm going to need X amount of dollars to be able to compete year in and year out in the Big 12. It's non-negotiable. If I don't have this number, I'll stay in the NBA. And I don't know if this is a conversation I would have. I don't know if that's what he did, but it would be, I would imagine it'd have to be along those lines of, he's a smart guy. He's done his research. He knows I'm going to need this amount of money to be able to compete if we're going to win in the Big 12. And I'm going to need it every year, not just 1 year. I'm going to need that every single year. Can you do that? And BYU must have said, yes, we'll work with the collective. We'll get you that dollar amount. And I'm going to need this for my assistants. Okay, let's go. Because we saw that number on Kevin. It was a huge number, but it's more than just that. It's about the amount of resources and support you're going to pour into your program if you're going to be successful.
Well, his assistant pool must be pretty big. I don't know what he ended up paying Brandon Dunson, but Coach Dunson was his first hire.
Yeah.
And he brought Coach Dunson out of Stanford, where I'm sure he was fat and happy and probably had prospects, and there was some ceiling and growth. And you go out and get Brandon Dunson, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a nice big hire. Chris Burgess was a pipe dream to me.
Yeah.
He was a pipe dream. Coached at BYU from 2019 to 2022, and when he left, I mean, there were a lot of rumors and reasonings, and different people had different opinions on it. And I've heard everything from offer sheet to prospects to butting heads with Pope to recruiting conflicts to enrollments, all those types of things. There's a ton of rumors out there as to why he left. And I don't know how many reasons there are why he came back, but it's got to be many zeros.
Yes.
It's got to be many zeros. God, you can't get Chris Burgess out of Utah for nothing?
The term I got was quite the bag. I don't know specifics, but it was
Does this say anything about Craig Smith? Does it say anything about the University of Utah?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I think that ultimately you got to look at what's best for your family. And let's be honest, Craig's probably in a situation where that staff's in a situation where they probably need to make the NCAA tournament next year. Now, they had the nice run in the NIT, but he's going on year 4, and it's probably time to make the tournament. And he's going into the toughest conference in all of college basketball in the Big 12. And so that's not an easy situation to be in. You got a coach who reaches out, and I do believe that there is some level of familiarity between Chris Burgess and Kevin Young. I think there's some background between the two of them. And I think that the two of those, so when you go with the new coach, you realize, okay, I'm going to be in the honeymoon phase for a while. So when you're looking at your long-term health in terms of your job status, you realize I'm going into year 4 with Craig. Craig's probably going to have to make the NCAA tournament. The Barbarians are starting to get restless up at the Hill. Or I can take a massive pay raise, go to BYU with a coach who just got himself a fat new contract.
With a big buyout, probably.
With a big buyout. And
to a university that doesn't buy out.
Yeah, and so I'm probably going to be safe for a bit.
There's some stability.
Yeah.
Where he could continue to grow, too. And as you mentioned, I'll bet there is some relationship, some type of chemistry between Kevin Young and Chris Burgess. I know you could ask a lot of questions why Chris Burgess, but I think it goes back to him recruiting to that university, him knowing the landscape, his religious affiliation. There are a lot of things that you can draw comparisons to. If you want to just step away from the court and say why, would BYU go after Chris Burgess? I just think that there's a lot of parallels to draw to say he equates to success for Kevin Young, for recruiting, for BYU. When he was there, he was a hot commodity. They loved him.
Yeah, and he'll be a head coach here soon.
I know.
I have little doubt that Chris Burgess will be a head coach.
One thing I can say, because it came back to me first person, when he left, there were people in the decision-making area that were absolutely crushed.
Yes.
Because they loved him.
Yep.
And when they lost him, it was painful. It was very hurtful to them. So it doesn't surprise me that they made a big push to go get him back. It does surprise me that they made a big enough push to get him back. Because put yourself in Chris Burgess' shoes. You just left that university, and you went back to your alma mater, and you're just a year there, right? Was he 1 year or was he 2 years?
I want to say 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, this was his second year.
Because he wrapped up in 22.
Because he took over for Eric Peterson, who just wrapped up his second year at South Dakota.
Okay, so he's been there for 2 years. And it's like, all right, well, what's the imaging of him now picking up and going back to where he was? You know, I'm sure Utah fans look at that and shake their head like, well, how could he do that to us? But if you listen to some of the things that Scotty just explained, and you listen to some of the things that I just explained, and you look at the zeros on the back of his contract, well, what would you do? What decision would you make? You've got stability, you've got money.
Yep.
You've got familiarity. You got affiliation. You know where you're going to have your kids. You don't have to. It's not this big family move. So it doesn't surprise me, but it floors me. Does that make sense?
No, I think that makes total sense.
It doesn't surprise me, but I'm absolutely floored that they got it done. And you know, you and I keep our ear to the ground, and I've always got my ear to the ground. This wasn't rumbling that I heard. I don't know if you'd heard anything, but this came as a pretty big surprise to me.
I'd heard that there was a lot of interest. I just didn't think it was going to happen. like you said, I got to quit second-guessing BYU because when the news came out that Mark Madsen and his contract, and it would take, I don't know, like $5 or $6 million to buy him out of that contract. And I thought, okay, there's no way BYU is going to spend that amount of money just to buy a guy out of his contract and then hire him. And I had a lot of people on Twitter like, no, BYU's in this to win it. If they want it, they'll go get him. If they want him, they'll go get him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, but BYU's so frugal. There's no way they would do that. Well, they didn't go get Madsen. They got, in my opinion, a much better coach than Madsen, and that's no disrespect to Mark, but I think they've increased their ability to market themselves at a high level with Kevin Young. And so with that in mind, they go out and get a potential superstar as a coach, pay him a ton of money, more money than has ever been even remotely close to being paid to a coach at BYU ever. And then they go out and they pick up a really great assistant, and then they purge another great assistant from their rival at the University of Utah, who had just left you 2 years earlier.
It's crazy. It's
crazy to me. So the amount of resources that BYU is pouring into their program for a school that traditionally has been knocked for being frugal, that has the money but don't really want to spend the money, they want to run things lean and mean, all the stereotypes about BYU that we've heard for so many years, out the window.
Out the window, man.
They're spending like a drunken sailor right now.
They are. And
you have to.
Yeah, you have to. Good for them, but you're still in the most competitive league in all of basketball. And does your name draw like some of the other big names in that league? Because where money gets competitive and you're now spending on transfer portal players, now guys want to play in certain places. Okay, well, maybe it doesn't have the draw of a UConn. Or, well, I know that that's a different league. Maybe it doesn't have a draw of some of your top programs, Kansas and others, in the Big 12. But now you can tell a recruit, oh, let me introduce you to Kevin Young.
Yeah.
He's been coaching in the NBA for X amount of years. He was just working with Kevin Durant, and this is his vision and philosophy of a college basketball system. How would you like to play inside a system where you have a green light? You know, like whatever Kevin Young's system is going to be. And I think you may have asked somebody the question of what will his philosophy or style be, and I can't remember who it was or even what the answer was. But I think it was Tim LaComb.
Yeah.
And by the way, we will have Tim LaComb on at 1 o'clock to talk more about this hire. But that just got to be a draw for college athletes, for prospective college athletes. I was thinking about this. I don't want to cut the football program short because the Jay Hill hire was
a statement.
It was a statement hire.
Mm-hmm.
The equivalent of Kevin Young and Burgess, no, not quite. I feel like
Burgess is a bigger deal.
Yeah, I feel like those two hires were kind of like more of a, hey, let's put some billboards up along the I-15 and let everybody know.
Yeah.
You know, that's that kind of statement. But Jay Hill was a gigantic get. And I know that they knocked down a lot of fences and stomped flat a lot of speed bumps so that they could go get Jay Hill. They did a lot of work to get Jay Hill. Now, I don't know so much about this new tight ends coach. You know more about their new O-line coach, but they've made 2 new hires that really have to come in and produce. Those 2 fields, those 2 areas, they've got to improve, and BYU knows it. And so we'll be watching really close to see what those hires were. But Jay Hill, that's a home run. It's one of the best hires I think BYU's ever made.
100%.
So I don't want to cut BYU football short, but what I'm seeing, what it is appearing to me to be, BYU has pushed chips into the middle of the pot with their basketball program.
And I don't hate the philosophy at all, because if you're going to be playing in the premier basketball conference in all of college basketball, it's not enough just to have a seat at the table. You want to compete, and you got a taste of it last year. You went to Fog Allen and got a win. So how do you build on that? Well, you continue to support your program. But here's the thing, Hans. It used to be, for so many years, you built these impressive new facilities, and you built all these great locker rooms and everything else because that's what's going to get your player. That's what's going to get your guys. And then you bring in a new head coach at BYU that could say, hey, look who I have on speed dial. It's Kevin Durant. Let's call Kevin. Call Kevin Durant. Kevin's like, hey, what's up, Kate? What's up, Kevin? And you're like, hey, I'm just here with a recruit who's thinking about coming to BYU. And Kevin Durant's like, you know what? I love my guy. He's a great coach. You should go and play for him. Like, wow, that's going to mean a lot. But at the end of the day, you know what it all comes down to? Money.
Money is the one.
And if BYU is paying a head coach a lot of money, is paying an assistant coach a lot of money, then I got to imagine that goes along with it, they've got a collective that's going to have to be paying a lot of money.
And you know what's
because I think BYU, you deal with the honor code and all this other stuff, whether it's real or not, and whether it's a deterrent for kids. I don't know. I think it has to be to a certain extent, but you're going to BYU, you're going to Provo, Utah, predominantly LDS, predominantly white, all the things that the BYU gets knocked on in terms of not being able to recruit high-level, recruits. Well, guess what? I don't care where I have to go play. I don't care what religion is predominant. If you're giving me the bag of cash, I'll go wherever. You want me to do sports radio in Siberia? Give me in hands $2 million a year. We'll talk Siberian hockey.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll get into cricket.
Yeah.
If we got to get into cricket, we'll do it.
We'll do it.
So money is number one. But when you're talking in assistant coaching terms, stability is a very close number two.
Yep.
Because I want people to understand that these assistants work on 2-year maxes. Like it's a 2-year, typically it's a 2-year deal for assistants. And I don't know if college basketball is the same. I would assume it is.
I would think so.
With your top end football assistants, they typically will do a 2-year deal with them. But they're usually year to year.
95% are year to year.
A year to year attached to a head coach. So when you're an assistant and you're deciding to leave something to go to something, stability is a huge influencer in a decision. And I do think that Kevin Young, at least it says to Chris Burgess, at least, bare minimum, I've got 5 years there.
Yes. Yep.
Let's just say everything tumbles and we lose guys to the portal and we're having all kinds of issues and we just can't get over the hump in the Big 12. We've got 5 years.
Yeah. Well, and I'll go back to COVID when I never experienced a lot of concern about job safety until COVID. I've never really spent a bunch of time of my off time thinking, am I going to have a job tomorrow? I don't know. I always felt pretty comfortable with where I was at. I always felt comfortable with the leadership and my job performance and how people thought of me as an employee. Like I always felt pretty comfortable that, I was going to be okay until COVID hit. And then you and I spent a lot of time on the phone and in person off the air going like, are we going to be okay through this? You were going through negotiations on a contract. I was going through negotiations on a contract. It was not a good time to be going through contract negotiations in the middle of a pandemic.
Couldn't have hit it the worst time.
I mean, we'll just let you behind the curtain. We'll tell you what was up. And when we got our deals, and they may not have been the best in terms of what we were hoping for financially, but it was a level of stability where when I signed my name on that dotted line, I'm like, whew. You just take a deep breath and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm okay. At least I got a job.
Yep.
It may not be the number that I was hoping for because of a pandemic, but at least I know I can pay my mortgage and pay my bills and keep food on the table for my kids.
Yeah.
And I don't care what profession you're at. I don't care if you're a tire salesman or the head coach of a major league NFL team. I don't care. Anywhere in between. At the end of the day, you want security. Mm-hmm. And you want to feel comfortable that you can provide for your family in whatever quality of life that they've come to expect. And that's
And
that's a big determining factor
for Chris Burgess.
For Chris Burgess, he knows that. And I'm not saying that
as close to security as you can get in the college basketball coaching realm.
And I'm not saying Craig's in trouble at Utah. I'm just saying that it feels like sometimes you like that little reset where you're like, okay, you know what? I know for a fact I'm not going anywhere for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm very safe for a while. Up there, I might be safe, but I don't know. But here, I definitely know I'm okay, and I'm getting a huge raise as well.
Last thing, and then we'll jump out to Courtney here at Spa Trivet. How much do you believe prospects of winning played a role in his decision to go?
Ooh, I think there's an element of that, yeah.
I wondered, how much does that play a role in his decision to go? Does he when I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the contract, I'm like, okay, that number's bigger than that number.
Yep.
Green light. This security is better than that security. Green light. The next one I go to is my ability to win there as compared to my ability to win here.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, because you were talking about some of the recruiting limitations, I do wonder if it's a little easier to potentially win at Utah when they get things going than it is at BYU, or if BYU has now built some momentum and he feels like you can win at BYU. Because I've always felt like Utah is primed and ready for an insane resurgence. I've always felt like that. And I think the fan base is all kind of sitting there waiting for like something. You know, the women's basketball team, they go win a Pac-12 championship, and that place is jam-packed for their first round of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's jam-packed. People are hungry in this state for basketball. So I've always felt like, man, if you could build it, they'll come. But I do wonder if he looked at it and he's like, man, I think with Kevin Young and the players that we have access to, and I wonder if that played a role. I don't know. I don't know which place is easier to win at.
Yes, that's a good question. In
basketball.
Yeah. I have heard some rumblings that we're talking about how BYU's gone all in on NIL for basketball. And they're taking care of their football guys, but you can tell there's a real point of emphasis for basketball. There's another flip up at Utah where it might be opposite, where Kyle's bringing in the money and the money for basketball may not be where it needs to be, where if you want to compete at a high level of the Big 12.
No, that's another conversation we need to get into today.
Yeah. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're live here at Saratoga Springs, Spa Trivet, and guess who's here? It's Courtney, one of our favorite people on the planet.
Back at you.
What's up, Courtney?
Hi. Happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you. And we're excited to be here, especially in what I guess I would call my hometown.
Yes.
This is where I originally moved back to when I was still playing football. Came back to Saratoga Springs, and there was nothing. I mean,
and now look, we have a Costco.
And we got a Costco.
Yeah.
I came back out here. It's almost 19 years now that I moved out here.
Oh my gosh.
So think about that. 19 years. All we passed in these fields was alfalfa and antelope.
Yeah,
it was a 2-lane highway.
Yeah, back in the day, anything past Redwood, you didn't really know what was happening.
And now look at us, the Taj Mahal spas right here in Saratoga.
Incredible. Yeah. Well, we want you to come by and hang out because there's a couple things. Obviously, Mother's Day is coming up.
Yes.
And you can't screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
Anniversary, Valentine's Day, birthday, Mother's Day. Those are like the big four. You can't screw them up.
Right.
And you will not screw it up if you come to Spa Trivet and get a gift card or whatever might be, whatever she likes. You get it here and you're good to go.
Yes, 15% off all gift cards right now. You can go to shopspatrivet.com, and if you enter the zone, that will get you 15% off your gift cards. So head on over there.
The total price of it.
The total price.
So if I buy $1,000,
minimum of $100, but yes,
I'm getting $150 off.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that my math?
Yeah, easy as that.
Look at that.
Is it $15? No, I think so.
Actually, math was not my strength, so I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to confidently say it's $150 off $1,000. Well, think about that, though. No, honestly, think about that. You come in, you by the way, you buy $1,000 and somebody's going insane because you come in, you're going to be a queen or a king for a week.
Absolutely.
But
we can do it in a day if you really want to.
Yeah, well, we can. We have the ability.
We do.
But $150 off that, 15% off those gift cards.
Yep, 15% off the gift cards. We also have some other amazing promotions. We have a complimentary gift with a hydrofacial purchase, complimentary Elastin skincare product. Every woman loves a hydrofacial, and man, it is the gateway skincare treatment here at Spa Trouvé. So that is also a wonderful gift.
Wow.
We have up to 60% off laser hair removal. That is the gift that keeps on giving. Who wants to shave?
Nobody.
Not me.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of men do their neckline.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's contouring for the neck and jawline. And it takes away that itchiness from the collar, you know, the soup collar.
Yep.
Just that is a great gift. And on May 8th, you can also log on to Ally.com if you're an Ally Rewards member, and you can get $150 gift card for $100.
Okay.
Wow.
And we're going to match an additional $50 for that.
Wow. So
So that is May 8th. Yep. If you're an Ally Rewards, so if you've come to Spa Trouvé and had Botox done here, you're usually an Allergan or an Ally Rewards member.
Okay.
And all you have to do is log on to Ally.com, ALLE.com, and purchase a $150 gift card for $50, and we will match an additional $50.
Oh, that's awesome.
May 8th. Yes.
That's a good one for Mother's Day,
a good
too,
one.
if you're kind of in that world, because you could save a lot of money.
Yes, it's 4 days prior. We can, if you want to, we can wrap that gift card and make it really cute. Put it in a fancy bag.
I mean, look, check and check. Not only do you have a great gift, you don't have to worry about wrapping. You don't have to worry about all that other stuff. You just hand it over, and you'll immediately be a hero.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk a lot throughout the show as well about cleaning yourself up, too, because, you give yourself the gift, give yourself a gift by cleaning yourself up and being a little bit more respectful. You don't have to look like Chewbacca out there. Let's get yourself cleaned up.
So two things. We are feeding you today, and I want people to come out. We've got some amazing sandwiches, Gandolfo's New York-style deli sandwiches that are just delicious. We've got turkey, roast beef. It looks like a roast beef and Swiss. So do not spend money on lunch. Come in and grab some lunch here at the Saratoga Springs Spa Trouvé location. And number two, Courtney, I like to send people to the website. I like to send them to Spa Trouvé because I feel like they get the imaging of everything that's available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, SpaTrouvé.com. Everything's there. You can shop on the website. There's links to shop. There's information about our awesome new weight loss program as well, which, for those of you that haven't tried the semaglutide or you're thinking about it, we have an incredible program. It's $250 a month for 3 months. You get a free skin tightening treatment with that. Amazing. And you also get platinum pricing, which is our best pricing on Botox and skincare treatments.
Wow.
So
they're the best.
Yes.
That's why they're the best.
So check that out as well. Yes.
We're live in Saratoga Springs, Spa Trouvé, 1022 North Redwood Road, Suite 201A. It's real easy to find. Just come on by, hang out with us. We're going to give you free food. We're going to hook you up. We got all kinds of goodies we're giving away, jazz gear, but more importantly, 15% off those gift cards for Mother's Day. Also, opportunities for you to get yourself squared away. Spa Trouvé, it's the place to be right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Time to welcome Big T Thurl Bailey back to the show.
Taylor Hendricks has really had an interesting position, right? You're talking the 9th pick in the draft, and with that comes a lot.
There's a long way to go to match the player I'm about to say, but ask for a best-case scenario to comp for him, given his size, his athletic ability. Scottie Pippen.
I don't think there's really a great comparison between those two right now. There's some similarities, some things that Taylor Hendricks can get to be that type of player. I actually think that he can be a better defender than Scottie. I think he can. I think he has a potential to be a better defender than Scottie Pippen was. It remains to be seen, but I see the potential in it. I would reserve the comparisons with Scottie Pippen right now. Give him a couple of years.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10. Presented by Murdoch Hyundai, Utah's #1 Hyundai dealer for 16 years in a row on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty G. That's right. Yeah! On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
On the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round, and they gazed in wide wonder.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Said, leave us alone. Great song. George Thorogood, the Destroyers. Well, speaking of destroyed, the Heat are done, 118-84. That was a foregone conclusion. The Celtics left no room for doubt last night. Led by almost 20 at the end of the first quarter. Said, no, we're not messing around here. We're done. And the Heat are done. But the one game that I think was a bit surprising, not just that Dallas won, but Dallas just flat out took the Clippers behind the woodshed, ended up winning 123-93. Luka puts on a show, bum knee and all. No big deal. Kawhi Leonard, not a sight from him in that game as Dallas wins 123-93. So, a convincing Game 5 victory in Los Angeles. Now the series shifts back to Dallas. You got to feel like the Mavs can be like, hey, let's close this thing out and be done in 6 and get ready for the next round. But, yeah, Dallas looked great last night.
Dallas looked really good, and tonight's games are exciting. You've got a couple of closeout games. Indianapolis could close out Milwaukee tonight.
They will.
And that's probably likely, but I think the one that's more the toss-up is a 3-2 situation. New York is leading that series 3-2, and we've watched the 76ers scratch and claw and scrape and push. And a Tyrese Maxey performance for the ages, 7 points in the final 24 seconds, including a 4-point play. He was incredible in the clutch closing seconds of that game. Can the 76ers produce the same magic now as they go back to the Wells Fargo Center there in Philadelphia?
I certainly hope so. And I am
go Game 7.
And I am rooting like crazy because I love Game 7s in NBA playoffs. So yes, I will be fully on the Philly bandwagon.
Yeah,
tonight.
me too. But do you think that the Brunson burner turns up the heat, gets the green flame?
I hope so.
What's the hottest flame? The hottest
it's the
flame
blue.
Is white.
Or no, white. I think you're right. White.
I think white's the hottest flame.
Yeah.
Does he go white hot?
Not a simmering orange. No, he goes white hot.
White hot.
No, I think Philly wins this game.
Oh, I'd love a Game 7 in this series. I'd love to see Joel Embiid
Game
in
7, Madison Square Garden. Yes.
Oh,
please.
After what just happened in Madison Square Garden, that Philly going back to that place after what just happened, Joel Embiid and his antics at the back end of that game.
Please.
Maxey grabbing everybody's heart, ripping it out of the chest, throwing it on the floor.
Stomping on it.
You know, we
like
joke.
A burger at Burger King.
Yeah.
Or McDonald's, was it?
Oh, when you talking about the bullies?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, I told that story like
we've told that story
years,
a couple times.
8 years ago.
But
Good memory.
Well, I mean, you know, when a guy stomps on your burger and you still pick it up and finish it.
I was 11 years old, and my brother was 16. And
I love this story.
My brother's tiny, and he was cocky, and these grown adults walk in, and I say grown adults, they're like seniors in high school. And my brother goes, "Hey, look, it's the Hamburglar and the Fry Guys. Where's Grimace?" And they didn't think it was funny. And so I had my Big Macs on the table, my Big Mac, and the bullies walked over. He had his Big Mac, and they grabbed our Big Macs in their hands, squished them, and threw them on the floor and said, "Did you want to say something?" And it's one of the most devastated moments of my entire life. I'm not even kidding you, because Big Macs were like liquid gold to me back then, because I didn't get them because you had to go to Ontario to get them. And Ontario's a good hour away. The closest McDonald's to me growing up was an hour away.
Wow. That's crazy because Weezer's not a small town.
It's not a small town.
I mean, it's a small-ish town. But...
Weezer ended up getting a McDonald's like in 2004. No. Sorry. They ended up getting it in 2000 or 2001.
But you had the taco
they didn't
time,
have
right?
It there while I was growing up. And no.
What?
No, we didn't have the taco time.
So where you like? I know you guys weren't like.
No, we didn't have the taco time.
I didn't have it. No, Burley didn't have a taco time either.
Burley had something better. They had the Bandito.
We had the Taco Bandito.
Yeah, he had the Bandito. No, Lloyd, we did not have a single fast food establishment. Not one.
You had to have one.
Not one fast food establishment.
No Dairy Queen?
Nope. Not one fast food establishment in the town of Weezer from when I was born in 77 to when I left in 96.
And it's like at 10,000.
No, 3,800.
Okay.
It was at 3,800 when I left in 96.
All right.
I think it's around 4,200 now.
You're telling me your clown golf pro
so what did I eat, Lloyd?
running it?
I ate fudge. No, Joe wasn't. I had fudge. That's what I ate.
No wonder your mom's place did so well.
Yeah, it was called a monopoly.
Yeah. Smart lady.
Let's just say the Olsen Mafia kept it that way. Anytime there was a Chamber of Commerce meeting or a city board meeting, we were there.
You're like
torches in hand.
I love it.
How dare we talk about bringing a season to our city?
We're going to sell out to the corporate man. How dare we? That's not the Weezer way.
Yeah,
by the way,
might want to sit down, Ed.
You buy 10 pieces, you get one free.
Buy 10 pounds, get your 11th pound for free.
Hands over there, Josh Galuling, any city councilman that wants to approve a license for a Taco
sure that's
Bell.
The way you want to vote?
Slipping them in Abraham Lincoln. I think this says that they won't be moving in.
I think this bag of turtles say that you will say no to that.
Yeah. What do you know about a velvet mint? Have you had this velvet mint? Because I don't think you have.
Oh man, there was a book that I read. Actually, Jake Scott gave me the book about the Mexican cartel and how they would influence the police in Mexico. And like, look, you can either have silver or lead. You can either have silver and get the bribes, or you get lead in the form of a bullet.
I'll take silver.
So pick your choice.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Your options were silver or lead?
Yeah.
Well, your options at the Weezer City Council was velvet mints, turtles, or cyanide, rat poison.
Wow.
What are you going to take? The chocolate or death?
Give me the chocolate.
I'm telling you, buddy. He squished my Big Mac. So what I ended up doing, the manager saw the whole thing go down, and so he cooked us a couple of new Big Macs and brought them out. And the reason Scotty remembers this story so well, I did scoop the Big Mac off the floor, and I tried to piece the 2 layers of meat and the mac sauce and the lettuce back together, and I ate the squished Big Mac.
Yeah. So was Ryan like, hey man, don't do it?
Ryan knew he couldn't stop me.
Yeah.
I was already giving Ryan hand-me-ups at that point. Because when I was 11 and he was 16,
hand-me-ups?
Yeah, when I was 11, he was 16. I was already quite a bit bigger than him.
All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What you may have missed coming up next. Tim LaComb will join us at 105. It's all right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Tim Twyman, DetroitLions.com. Let's chat a little bit about Sione Vaki.
And I think Brad Holmes saw that and saw a kid with his skill set, his body type, and now Vaki can be a core special teamer right away. And I think that's how he's going to get on the field right away. Obviously, at running back, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are a really great duo here. But I think where Vaki can step in right away is I wouldn't be surprised if he's returning kicks in rookie minicamp and early in training camp and then be a core special teamer. I think they got a terrific athlete, one of the most versatile players, and they really like that pick. Brad said that was one of the guys he woke up going into Saturday saying, I really want that guy, and moved up to get him, and that's where I see his role early.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Looking for the latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah, we've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. Thursday, week's almost over.
It's about there, man. Hey, speaking of things that are almost over.
Yes.
It's being reported Darvin Ham is out with the Lakers.
Shocker.
NBA Central's reported it. I've seen a few other insiders report it. NBA Central tweeted, the Lakers are expected to terminate Darvin Ham by the end of the week. The latest I've heard is the plan is still to move on from Darvin Ham at some point, likely by the end of the week, potentially as early as tomorrow. Then the head coaching search will commence.
So, for the next former head coach of the Lakers.
Who's next? Line them up.
Who's next that will be there for a year, maybe a year and a half before getting fired?
When we have more time, and I think we might have an open segment at 2. Maybe we can play it. But for those of you that didn't hear Charles Barkley go off on this, Charles Barkley lost his mind because he's sick of people trying to be friends with the players and go at coaches and where the blame is placed. And the truth is, when you decide you're going to coach LeBron James, you become a pawn in his game.
Yes.
So whatever happens, LeBron's going to win.
Yep. You just got to know that. You got to accept it.
When LeBron loses, the heat doesn't come down on LeBron.
Nope.
The heat comes down on the people around LeBron. And LeBron's like, yeah, well, did you see Darvin Ham? I mean, he can't even drop a play. Did you see how he was using Anthony Davis offensively? Yeah, I get it. He's a great rotation defender. I know. But did we really max out what he can do defensively? And then you start to hear all the storylines start to creep out in the media. Darvin Ham just didn't know how to use Anthony Davis offensively. Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me? Darvin Ham used Anthony Davis exactly the way LeBron James wanted Anthony Davis used.
Yep. LeBron is the GM. LeBron is the owner. LeBron runs everything, and LeBron will take no accountability for what's going on. You will. It's like, look, we mentioned this yesterday. The amount of, death and destruction of coaches that have been left behind LeBron James rivals Ted Bundy. I mean, like, this dude it is, going into it that, okay, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to get a nice buyout. But at the end of the day, I'm going to last maybe a year and a half before he gets sick of me and I get kicked to the curb, and then I'm going to have to go find a new job.
Well, and then try being the guy that plays next to him. I mean, he gives all this love and praise to Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves, he misses a floater in an elimination game, and it's like, well, whoever signed this guy?
This jabroni.
Well, you loved him up, man. He was an affordable guy. He has to be affordable because
you're taking all the money.
You've always taken all the money.
Yep.
So it's a tough situation. I do still love LeBron on the court.
I do too.
And when the Lakers were eliminated, I wanted one more game out of him, but here we are, Darvin Ham about to lose his job.
Courtney's with us. We're live at Spa Trouvé. All kinds of great Mother's Day promotions going on. Mother's Day is just about a week and a half away.
I know.
You can't screw it up, right,
Courtney?
Courtney?
It's in 10 days. That's all you got.
What do you think, when you see some of the moms out there, what is their favorite thing to come in and do? Honestly,
2 things. The Botox is still probably the number one asked for treatment, and the hydrofacial, the skincare hydrofacial. And lucky for you, we have discounts on both of those treatments. So gift cards. The gift cards are 15% off right now at Spa Trouvé through the 15th. So buy her a Botox gift card. You can't go wrong with a Botox gift card. The hydrofacials, right now we're offering a complimentary Elastin product, a skincare product with any hydrofacial purchase. Any mama would love that treatment. That treatment is also amazing. So top 2 treatments, they're both on sale. You can go to shopspotrevet.com, enter the word The Zone when you purchase your gift card, and that will give you the 15% off.
Okay,
yeah.
you gotta enter The Zone.
The Zone. It's real simple. The Zone is going to get you 15% off. And for a guy out there that hears all this, and our listeners may not be up to speed on all this stuff, so but they know their wife wants something from Spa Trouvé. So you can just buy a generic gift card and just be good to go, and she can apply it to whatever she wants. Correct?
Whatever she wants, yeah.
Because you probably shouldn't be going and, hey, baby, I gave you $100 worth of semi-glutide or something like that.
Right.
That's probably not going to go over well for you.
It's a mixed message.
Yeah, so I would say give her a gift card and say, whatever you would like, it's yours.
Yes, and we package them, put a little ribbon around the gift card. They come in a really cute bag. All you do, hand it to her. I would recommend writing a card. Most women love that.
They do.
But yes, they're wrapped
Hans
and
writes
ready to go.
poetry.
I do.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear that.
I do. Well, my love just burns so bright for my wife. So
you write for Chat GPT at this point.
Yeah. Like, I just sit down and I think about her and the words.
I need a poem about how beautiful my wife is. Enter.
Hey, I was writing poems.
Oh, I know you. No, I know. I know you.
It does make it a little easier now.
Yeah.
What it does is it gives me a baseline because I'm like, give me a limerick.
Yeah.
And then I just rhyme the words it gives me with my own words. But, hey, one thing that I was thinking about this morning when we were coming in, I wanted to really express to our listeners the variety of treatments Spa Trouvé offers.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you hear spa, you're like, oh, so she can go in and get a back rub and a facial.
Right.
I want everybody to understand it's like every medical treatment that's out there you guys offer.
Oh, yes. And ours is more, I describe it as like the beauty is pain spa. So there's no massages here. We do some aggressive treatments, but yeah, we offer everything. Of course, we talked about Botox, lip filler. We offer cool sculpting. We have the semaglutide membership, which is awesome, and I want to talk a little bit about that. It's a 3-month membership for $250 a month, and it comes with a complimentary skin tightening treatment and platinum pricing on our Botox and our skincare treatments.
Hold on. Just reset that price one more time.
Yes, $250 a month for 3 months. You get to your door semaglutide or tirzepatide. We can also do. You get a free skin tightening treatment, which no one in Utah is doing free skin tightening, and it's an awesome treatment. And
because if you lose weight quickly, that's a significant issue.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're noticing that.
Trust me. Yeah.
Yes, and so I mean, sometimes clients will come in and they'll lose a lot of weight in their face.
Yeah.
And so they need a combination of fillers along with some skin tightening, and that can be a beautiful effect, because the weight loss looks amazing, but sometimes it can give more of a gaunt look, or there's a lot of loose skin. So we have treatments for both of those.
Wow,
issues.
that is a great deal.
Yes, it's a great deal. All the information is on our website, so you can go check it out there. And she can spend her gift card on the semaglutide, if she wants to go that route.
Yeah.
So
don't tell her to spend it on semaglutide.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
Gotta choose.
Yeah.
It's like upper lip hair removal. It's like, you choose. I just got you hair removal.
Right. Just hair removal. But yeah, we have great deals on laser hair removal, and we treat all areas for men and women. You can buy half body sessions if you just want to do the whole shebang. We have PRF hair treatments for men, which is an awesome treatment for those with receding hairlines. All kinds of things.
Like
Skin
I said,
resurfacing treatments.
runs the gamut.
Yes.
Everything you could do to make yourself feel better about yourself.
Right.
It's here.
Yes. And when you look better, you feel better. It's all about confidence, right? And that's a real thing. So
we got a bunch of sandwiches here. We're going to feed you lunch. Thanks to our good friends at Gandolfo's for bringing sandwiches by here. We got the treats. We got the jazz gear. We got a chance for you to win RSL tickets and a chance for you to be a hero on Mother's Day. All you have to do is come by Spa Trouvé, 1022 North Redwood Road here in Saratoga Springs. Now, we understand we're in Saratoga, so if you can't make it down here, that's totally cool. Go to Spa Trouvé. There's so many great locations up and down the Wasatch Front. Get yourself squared away and be the man.
Be the man.
For Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Hans and Scotty, the great Tim LaComb joins us next.
Number one. Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Tried to amend my carnivorous habits. Made it nearly 70 days. Losing weight without speed, eating sunflower seeds. Drinking lots of carrot juice and soaking over rays. But at night I'd have these wonderful dreams. Some kind of sensuous treat. Not zucchini, fettuccine, bulgur wheat. But a big warm bun and a huge hunk of meat. Cheeseburger in paradise.
A little cheeseburger in paradise. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to check in with the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him, you wish you were him. It is Tim LaComb, kind enough to join us. Timmy, how are you?
Hey, Coach.
Is that just, use that every time for me, or is that like everybody?
Just you, Coach. I would never say that about anybody else.
He writes that down so he doesn't mess it up.
I'll tell you what, you deliver that like, I mean, you really should look into broadcasting, perhaps play-by-play. Those words really roll off the tongue.
I might look into that. Hey, okay, you don't have to give specifics, but I am kind of curious. Is Dave Rose looking at Kevin Young and what the reported contract is like, wow, I was really underpaid for what I was doing at BYU?
Well, I think that's the problem with eras, right? I will tell you this: for the era we were in at BYU, Coach made a lot of money, and it's just this whole thing is blown up with NIL, and I'm really honestly glad to see that BYU's kind of taken that step. It was always the one that they tried to walk this line of, being responsible and conservative, but then behind the scenes, like wanting you to go 32-0 every year, and to be successful on a high level, it takes a lot of money. And I think I think BYU obviously now is committed to that. But I will tell you this, I'm excited for them. What comes around goes around. I remember Roger Reed, and I was talking to him one day, and we were talking about what he made, and he said, I guarantee you make more right now than I ever made as a head coach. And, it's just as time goes on, man, and this game gets more popular, that's probably going to continue to happen through the ages.
With the Kevin Young hire and now the Chris Burgess hire, and again, not to mention that they go out to Stanford and they get Brandon Dunson, is this a big statement that they're moving their money and their interest towards basketball, or do you still feel like it's a shared interest with basketball and football? Like what kind of statement does this make to you, Coach?
No, I think football's been, I think from what I understand, football's kind of had most of that. When I think about our indoor practice facility, that's obviously our practice facility that Coach Rose had built. And I will tell you a quick story. This is the type of guy he is. When we went to the Sweet 16, he immediately got inquiries through his agent for two schools, Oklahoma, who was going to be on probation, after all their craziness with Blake Griffin and all the good things that happened there. And then the other one was NC State. They both reached out, and they were willing to definitely double his salary. But they got offered both those jobs. And he went to the president and said, look, I could leave, but I'll stay here if you guys will commit that, that we can build a practice facility. And the crazy part was, they committed to it but wouldn't put it in writing, And at the end of the day, Coach raised the majority of that money for that place. And so, that was kind of the experience prior. Everything was just, you had to figure out how to navigate it. And I think now, obviously, football's always kind of had they've kind of had the major backing, obviously more interest with bigger crowds. But I think it's just basketball's kind of starting to come into its own, and they're certainly making a major investment. And I think there's no accident that it comes at the time that they're kind of accepted into the big boy club, just a year removed.
Well, when there was rumors that they were reaching out to Mark Madsen, and I looked at the contract, I'm like, there's no way they'd be able to pay the money to get him out of Cal and bring him to BYU. And then I had people reach out like, no, it's a different era at BYU. They might be willing to do that. If there's a guy they really want, they'll go spend the money to do it. And it feels like it's a whole new world and a whole new commitment that BYU's like, you know what? We need to spend money. Let's go do it. We need to go get this guy out of the NBA and pay him on average $4 million a year. Let's do it. We need to steal a guy from the University of Utah. Let's go do it. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around it. And as a guy that worked there for a long time, I'm sure you probably have a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, but I think there's a simple explanation. Really, when I first got to BYU, we were Mountain West Conference, and our TV revenue, I remember the first time I saw it in a meeting, but our TV revenue at the time as a university was $1 million. That's what the Mountain paid everybody. When BYU went independent, they nearly 10 times that, right? Because they controlled the narrative, they controlled the broadcasting rights as an independent. And then, from there, getting $10 million, and now obviously the payouts over 30, there is just more budget. And I think the thing has always been the church isn't going to come in and use their money. But there's a budget there, and, that TV revenue has always kind of been how you survive. Bottom line is just got 3 times, and everybody else is gearing up. So if you're going to compete, you better gear up too.
So when you look at the Chris Burgess situation, he leaves in 2022. He's there from 2019 to 2022. And he leaves, he coaches for 2 years with Craig Smith at the University of Utah, and now comes back. And I know you're introspective, and I know that you think on these things. Give me a few thoughts as to why he would leave his alma mater, a place that you know extremely well, and you know that team, and you know Chris Burgess, a team that he'd played for and loved. What are some thoughts as to why he would leave?
Well, obviously, it's a good opportunity for he and his family, and I think it's a good opportunity long term. Obviously, BYU basketball is coming off a really great season, their first season in the Big 12, and Utah is in a different thing. They're actually going to transition from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, which is, in my mind, as big a move. Like Pac-12, WCC, pretty comparable, honestly, at the end of the day. But the Big 12, those arenas and everything you see, I mean, it's big time basketball. And so I just think, you weigh it out, but obviously at the end of the day, it was a great opportunity. And I know Chris really well. And I love the kid. I met him when I was recruiting Zach Sellius. He had just gotten back from playing in Europe, and he was up at Bountiful High just kind of helping out. And we had a conversation. I'll never forget it, right in the doorway of the old gym. And he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. And I said, bro, you need to coach. You need to coach. You'd be a really good coach. And, he's like, well, that's what I'd like to do. And it wasn't very long. He got in at UVU or at Utah, obviously, as a grad assistant. And then, from there to UVU, and then follow the road. But he's a great guy. I know it was probably really hard for him. I mean, it's not a decision he took lightly, and I know Craig Smith's one of the best dudes you could ever meet, and so I know it's difficult. But they say that the old adage is business, and I think at the end of the day, that's probably what made the decision.
So what exactly, I mean, Chris Burgess, we've known him forever, and we've known that he's been part of staffs and is obviously a tremendous coach. But from your perspective, knowing who he is as a coach and his strengths, what does he bring to BYU in this Kevin Young administration at BYU?
Well, I think you got to look at it in two ways. I think he's done a great job developing big guys. I know that when Polk was here, he got a ton of that credit, but, it was Burgess that was working with guys, and I think you see his departure and then Keita putting his name in the portal. I think that speaks volumes because I think Keita had an amazing year. And from my understanding, one of my colleagues told me today that, on the radio after every game, they'd say, hey, what's made the difference to Keita? And he'd say Burgess, Burgess. So I just think he on the court with those big guys, he really brings them along and develops them. But off the court, he and I are it's funny, we were talking about it. We're connectors. We know a million people. We maintain relationships, you guys know that because I send you guitar videos all the time. But we're connectors, and I think he's so well loved in the basketball community. I really don't know many people that don't like him. So, I just think he's got a brilliant future for all those reasons.
Is he a head coach here in the near future, do you think?
This will certainly working with Kevin will really polish. Kevin is a innovator, and, to have the ability to work with somebody that's been that close to the best league in the world, it's only going to help him more. So, yes, he's ready. He's pretty close to ready now, I think. But this will just kind of, I guess, put the frosting on the cake.
So as the transfer portal, the spring transfer portal now closes, Coach, your thoughts on who stayed, who went, and what that basketball program will look like from a player's perspective?
Which one? Sorry.
BYU.
BYU? Mm-hmm. BYU, right? Yeah. Sorry, I got my signals crossed as we talked Utah for just a second. I think they did what they had to do. They got a lion's share of the talent that went into the portal back. Obviously, Khalifa moved on, and in my understanding, he's going to redshirt this next year. He was injured, and so whether he stays here or goes to Louisville, that was a guy that probably was not going to be in the plans, so it's kind of a wash. I will say if they could land Keita out of the portal, they need a rolling five. And I don't know if there's a better rolling. Like, the dude is an animal. You guys seen him play?
Oh, yeah.
The dude he's a rim rocker. And unbelievably great hands, set killer screen. So, that's the kind of guy they need in the middle. But you look at the guys they have coming back. I love Dallin Hall. I think he's a winner. Richie Saunders might be my favorite player in the country because he cares so much, plays so hard. They're going to be Trevin Nell's back, to make some shots, and then obviously they're out recruiting and trying to find other pieces to bring in. So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited, and it may take a little bit of time transition from one league and coaching there to another, but I'm really excited to kind of watch it all unfold.
So we look at BYU. Now we shift to Utah. They're going to the Big 12 as well, the hardest basketball conference in the country, and they just lost a key assistant. They're losing some key players with Smith in the portal and Keita in the portal as well. This is and it kind of feels like, I don't want to say it that he has to make the NCAA tournament, but it does feel like there's a little bit more urgency in year 4 for Craig Smith. Kind of give me your thoughts on the health of that program right now.
Well, I think they had a good year, and I think they would have had a little better year had they not lost Worcester. I thought he was really important to them, but I think they strung together. They pieced it together. They missed the tournament, but got to the NIT, and I think that was a good experience for them. But in this day and age, like every year now, it's Groundhog Day and it's start over. And I honestly, on my way up here, I'm in Salt Lake today, and on my way out, drive up, I just couldn't get Craig off my mind because, that news about Keita and Burgess. And you don't forget DeMarlos LaComb left to go to Washington as well. Yeah. So, the staff's kind of got holes in it, and, the roster's got holes in it. And so they're there needs to be almost some divine intervention at this point. And I the problem is, and part of perhaps why Chris left, I mean, the fan support and it's just not great. And I worked up there in the eras where you couldn't get a ticket to that place. And I know that comes with winning. I understand that. But it's, that plays a factor in all of this, the apathy up there. And I would even say perhaps even from the department, I don't know what kind of support they're getting. But it doesn't seem like there's any kind of teeth to that program right now. And that kills me to say that. And it's not, it's kind of in this day and age, they had a pretty good thing built up, and then one by one, it all kind of fizzles.
So we're about to wrap up the first round of the NBA playoffs, Coach, and I just want you to give me your number one performances out of the East and out of the West, team-wise, not
team-wise. Man, I've loved watching it. I think the Denver series with LA was really highly competitive, but it was almost a contrast between new age basketball, European influenced new age basketball, and the isolation, throw your body into people. And it was almost, you could see the death of that part of the game. It's funny because it's hitting college too. Teams, as opposed to, a couple of individuals are that's really what's making things happen. And I think Denver personifies that. Michael Porter Jr. had just a crazy, remarkable series. And he's a guy in his rookie year, that I seriously watched him and was almost comical watching him play defense. His lack of understanding, concern, effort. I just thought this guy can really play on one end, and the other end, is just but I would say their team and the way they handled that series, because it was so, it's totally different contrasting styles. I thought that the way that they handled it, and we talked about it last week, Scotty, it was a gentleman's sweep. But I think, they're the champ. And to me, they played team basketball like champions. And I think that's going to win the day. I really do. Yeah. Their series coming up with Minnesota, who is the other one that stands out. Minnesota is scary. Anthony Edwards has come of age. Rudy Gobert is making a huge impact. And, when you put a couple of perimeter guys that can guard their shadow, Rudy doesn't have to guard four guys. He's pretty darn good. And so, that stood out to me too. It's just how together they are. So those two teams playing, that's going to be like plate tectonics.
You have Aaron Gordon as your primary defender on Anthony, or how would you defend him?
Oh, it's going to take, it's got to take a team effort. There's so many things with because you can't necessarily help too much off of many. You got McDaniel spacing the floor. Yeah. Conley has absolutely been killing it. So, it does have to be whoever does guard him. And I would say Gordon probably would be your best bet. Big physical, can take a hit because he delivers blows. He's one of those guys downhill, he's hitting you. It's going to be really interesting. But I would say they'll run guys through him, but that's probably not a bad call, Scotty. A guy like that probably does pretty well.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's do it again here soon, and keep those guitar videos rolling in, okay?
You got it. You guys have a great day. I appreciate you.
There he is. The great Tim LaComb right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
So he was just talking about the downhill play of the Lakers and it butting heads with the European style, and then he was talking about Anthony Edwards coming downhill. So it kind of makes me wonder if it's a bit of a similar matchup, because Anthony Edwards will come at you. Problem is, you've got youth and you've got the best defender in the league, and then you've got a second big man that defensively maybe isn't comparable to Anthony Davis, but gives you more offensively.
100%.
You think that's fair?
I think that's totally fair, yeah.
This is going to be an amazing series. That thing tips off on Saturday. And
can't wait. Must-see TV on there.
Everybody's going to be locked in on that one.
All right, 127, Hans and Scotty. We're live here, Hans, at Spa Trouvé. And you love.
Yeah, I do.
And you love hooking up your wife with all the greatest things she could possibly have. You spent essentially the GDP of Nicaragua on Lululemon for Christmas, and you spare no expense when it comes to your wife. But here's the thing. Guess what? You can save a ton of money down here at Spa Trouvé.
Yeah, 15% off their gift cards right now when you use promo code THEZONE. If you just go to spatrouve.com, S-P-A-Trouve, Trouve.com, and you're going to get 15% off their gift cards. I still think that the gift card is the best gift idea because if you come into one of their locations, 6 locations across the Wasatch Front, we don't talk enough about all their locations, but you can go all the way down to St. George. You've got Orem. You've got this one here at Saratoga Springs. You've got Highland, which we were at. Great location. You got Draper just there at the point of the mountain, and then up north in Bountiful. So you got great locations, makes it really convenient. And if you come in and buy gift cards here, you get the 15% off, and they'll put it in a nice little gift package for you so you can give it to your mom or to your wife. But great gift ideas.
It's really simple. Come on by, hang out with us, Spa Trouvé. As Hans mentioned, you go right on the website, spatrouve.com, and get all the gift cards there. Or you can just come on down here. We're in Saratoga Springs, 1022 North Redwood Road. Saratoga Springs, just type in Spa Trouvé Saratoga. You'll get here. And I got free sandwiches for everybody who comes by. And we need you to get those sandwiches. Number one, they're Gandolfo's, which means they're the best of the best. And you're going to get lunch. And Hans and I don't have to eat them afterwards, which is good for us.
Take it off our hands, please.
Take it off our hands because we'll bite the bullet, but we don't, it's probably best for our health or we don't. But we want you to come down, grab a sandwich. We got some goodies as well, jazz gear. Get those gift cards, and you'll know you'll be a hero. The next 10 days before Mother's Day, you're going to be in good shape.
And also, just to throw it out for Spa Trouvé, too, when the moment you walk in here, you just feel like royalty. It's such a beautiful, clean, incredible environment, and the staff is so friendly, warm smiles. Everybody that works at Spa Trouvé, highly trained, gone through every training possible, always on the cutting edge of all the advanced techniques. I think Courtney and her staff really pride themselves in that, and so you're going to get the top-end spa experience. I want people to understand that this is the top of the top-end spa experience in the state.
It's all right here at Spa Trouvé. Let's go, folks. Come on by, hang out with us. We're in Saratoga Springs, but there's a Spa Trouvé close to you up and down the Wasatch Front right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Salt Lake is the newest home of the National Hockey League.
We want our NHL team. This is a hot spot in America.
And when the announcement was made,
this thing's going to be successful.
The Zone had it covered from every angle.
2 of the big 4.
From the draft, free agency, and all the way until the puck hits the ice in the fall.
It can't come soon enough.
Let's go.
Your home for the best coverage of the NHL in Utah.
Utah is now the home of NHL hockey.
Talk about it right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the
Good, the bad, the ugly right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's all brought to you by RGS Exteriors and Construction, obsessed with quality results. Well, I'll tell you what, Hans, we start with the good, and I love this story coming out of Philadelphia because, frankly, you've got the 76ers in a huge game against the New York Knicks, and the Knicks have this massive fan base that they travel.
And they're in Philly.
When the Knicks play, they come calling, and Philly is just a train ride away from New York. It's not hard to get to. And so Philadelphia did not want a New York Knicks fan invasion into their building.
Which they've had.
So the ownership group, Josh Harris, David Blitzer, David Adelman, and Michael Rubin, who's the CEO of a part of the ownership group, bought more than 2,000 tickets for the Sixers game, and just for the sole purpose of making sure that those tickets got into the hands of Philadelphia 76er fans. They're handing them out to first responders, healthcare professionals, and local Philadelphia-based organizations and charities. Once we vet and make sure that they're all legitimate Sixers fans and not imposters, according to the tweet sent out from the ownership group.
There's going to be imposters. They're going to figure out how to get into that arena, and they're going to be loud. That's just what New York fans do. And they haven't had a team to cheer for in how long?
A while. It's been a minute.
And they don't know when they'll get the next opportunity because Brunson might be on his way out. Who knows? Now, it's highly unlikely, but I'm just saying it doesn't come around often for Knicks fans. So they're hungry for it. They've got a lot of money. They've got very little integrity. They will lie. They will cheat.
And a lot of them have, for some reason, a lot of Knicks fans have disposable income.
Yeah, they do, man. They're just loaded with money. So it's still going to get infiltrated. But this is a smart move because that arena, you're hearing New York fans too loud.
Yeah.
And it's an elimination game. If Philly loses, they're out. They're done. And they want to give themselves every opportunity to have home court advantage. So I get it, man. I think it's a brilliant move.
Well, and I like to, anytime you can hook up first responders, police, charity groups, things like that.
There's no way they could.
There's no way they could get into that normally.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, you know what, we're going to give you tickets to an elimination game so you can watch your team, cheer for your team, and keep Knicks, those dirty Knicks, out of our building.
I'm all for it because they can't find the 76ers can't find their way into Madison. So
nope. Yeah, they're priced out of that bad boy for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, there's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
Well, former Dodger pitcher Julio Urias pleaded no contest yesterday, Hans, to misdemeanor domestic battery charge. We've already talked about this earlier on The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, but he's now been placed on 36 months of summary probation, ordered to complete 30 days of community labor, as well as a 52-week domestic violence counseling course.
52-week?
52-week course. 1 a week for a whole year. He must pay a domestic violence fund fee and not possess any weapons, not use any force or violence, and pay restitution to the victim and abide by a protective order. This all stems from a September 3rd domestic abuse issue that occurred in the parking lot of BMO Stadium after a soccer match in which eyewitnesses say that he got into a physical altercation with his wife. He was booked on suspicion of injury on a spouse or cohabitant, released on a $50,000 bond, but no jail time.
What about his playing future?
As of right now, is not signed with anybody. Major League Baseball has launched a special investigation. That might be wrapping up here really soon, but as of right now, he is not on a roster. So
I don't think he'll end up on one.
I sure hope not.
Yeah, I think that's probably the end of Urias. I can't imagine that he ends up on a roster. I haven't seen or heard anything.
Yeah.
Something like this, especially when he pled no contest, you said, right?
Correct. But here's the other thing. He was on the verge, according to multiple people, on the verge of signing a 9-figure contract. Like, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And as of right now, his future appears to be in jeopardy in Major League Baseball. So, man,
let that be a lesson to you.
Let
kids.
that please be a lesson.
I would say that the person that deserves to be in the league more than that would be Trevor Bauer, based off of the findings of his situation. As disgusting as the whole thing is, but Trevor Bauer, the last I saw, and I don't know if you got an update or Lloyd does, Trevor Bauer, I believe, is still out of the league and is having a hard time finding his way back in.
Yeah.
Even after they found that this girl had implanted herself as somebody that was seeking money.
Yeah.
So I think that It's really tough to get over these things anymore. And if Major League Baseball welcomes these guys back, I think it's an ugly look. But especially Urias, I just don't see him coming back. But he's a big-time player.
Hell of a player. Disgusting human being. Yep. All right, there's your bad. Let's get to the ugly.
And, of course, the ugly.
So Damian Lillard has been actually upgraded from doubtful, which means he wouldn't play, to questionable for tonight's game.
Yeah.
And Giannis Antetokounmpo, he remains doubtful. So Damian Lillard has been out the last 2 games. He had an Achilles injury, and he's been out the last couple of games. Antetokounmpo has been dealing with a calf injury, and he's been out since, a couple games left in the regular season. So Giannis hasn't even dressed for the postseason. One of the coolest things that I saw in this story, it's the first time in NBA history, this last game that Milwaukee won, it's the first time in NBA history that with your top 2 scorers off the court in a postseason game that you got the win.
Yeah.
It's never happened before. Lillard and Giannis, your top 2 scorers off the court, and Middleton and Portis found a way to buoy it up with 29 points apiece, and they got the win in an elimination situation where they shouldn't. But that's not going to hold up.
No.
I say I don't expect Damian Lillard back, but watch Damian come back. Even if he comes back, I don't expect him to be Lillard time. I just expect him to try to put on a tough face and put on a show. But put yourself in Milwaukee's shoes. What they did with their coach in an effort to revive things, what they did in an off-season move in an order to revive things, put something next to Giannis and keep Giannis happy, and it all comes crumbling down. And I don't know if Giannis with this injury is like, man, this is on me, and I'm not going to hold this against my organization, or if he looks at it and he's like, man, these guys suck without me. I need to go. I need to go where I'm a piece.
Yes,
that can be a piece of a championship.
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter.
Might be the latter.
And it bums me out because Giannis has truly been one of the good guys, and he still is. I mean, he's a good guy, but NBA has a way of changing your perspective on who you are as a person and how you act and how you treat people. And we've seen over the last 18 months to 2 years, Giannis kind of develop into a bit of a heel. And I hope he doesn't go full heel, but he seems like he's heading down that trajectory.
Okay, so another first-round exit for Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Another first-round exit for Doc Rivers. Think about this.
Rinse and repeat.
Does the Bucs organization, do the Bucs fans, do people hold this against Doc, or do they look at it and say, a calf and Achilles, he's got every excuse in the world to not win and just blow it off?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think you can do that with all of his teams to a certain extent. Like, you can talk away a lot of his losses, but it is what it is. Like, Doc, he's got the one title in Boston, and he's got another run to the NBA Finals. But other than that, not a lot of good comes out of him as your head coach. You get to the playoffs, but you're not going to do much once you get there. And it's going to be another year of that. Now, again, yeah, you can say Lillard and Giannis and the injuries, but still, it's just another line of playoff failures for Doc Rivers.
He did come with some organizational skills to get Portis and Middleton going offensively, and those dudes showed up, and maybe you could say, hey, look, at least Doc did that. And maybe they scathed off elimination again tonight. Maybe. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think we know what the eventuality is of this Milwaukee team. I think it's over for them. And the Pacers are about ready to advance.
Just put take old Yeller behind the barn and finish him off.
Pretty much. Well, it would be Bambi's dad. The Bucks.
Oh, yeah, okay. Gotcha.
It'd be Bambi's dad.
All right, fair enough.
Was it Bambi's dad that got caught in the fire?
I think it was the mom.
Oh, was it the mom?
Yeah.
Oh, the Buck got shot. Her dad got shot, didn't
Yeah.
it? And then her mom got caught in a fire.
Was Bambi a girl?
Yeah.
I thought it was a boy.
Bambi was a boy?
Yeah.
Maybe. Thumper was a boy. Yeah. His little rabbit friend.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Bambi was a boy.
I always assumed that he was or she was.
Because every deer that's born is a fawn, right? Because Bambi was a fawn.
Yeah.
So boy and girl deer are fawn, or just girl?
No, I think fawn is a non-gender term of a baby deer.
Then it might very well might have been a boy. Lloyd, if you can get clarification on that.
Google it, Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm on top of that. I'll let you know.
Of all the things Lloyd has to deal with today, what is the gender of Bambi? It was not something I'm sure was on his bingo board.
It wasn't on mine. But here we are.
All right, whole world news coming up next. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and I present.
This is JJ and Alex.
Tim Twentyman, DetroitLions.com. Let's chat a little bit about Sione Vaki.
And I think Brad Holmes saw that and saw a kid with his skill set, his body type, and now Vaki can be a core special teamer right away. And I think that's how he's going to get on the field right away. Obviously, at running back, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are a really great duo here. But I think where Vaki can step in right away is I wouldn't be surprised if he's returning kicks in rookie minicamp and early in training camp and then be a core special teamer. I think they got a terrific athlete, one of the most versatile players, and they really like that pick. Brad said that was one of the guys he woke up going into Saturday saying, I really want that guy, and moved up to get him, and that's where I see his role early.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You got you and me, brother. In our hands, you got you and me, sister. In our hands, you got you and me, brother. In our hands, we got
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're live here at Spa Trouvé. We'll chat with Courtney coming up here in a bit. But Hans, I'm going to take you to China today. Taking Whole World News to China for the latest edition of Whole World News. There is a prisoner that was serving time and complained to the medical staff about stomach cramps.
Oh, boy.
Said his stomach's hurting. And they're like, well, why would that be the case? He's like, I don't know, man. My stomach's hurting. So they ran a bunch of tests, ran a bunch of scans, and found a foreign object in his stomach.
All right. While he's in prison.
While he's in prison. They're like, what's in your stomach? He's like, I don't know. I don't know why there would be something in my stomach. So they go under the knife on surgery, a 75-minute surgery, and they find what this foreign object is. It's a cell phone. He had smuggled in a cell phone, and all of a sudden, I don't know if the guards were coming or what happened, but he realized he was about to get caught. So instead of stuffing it under the mattress or sliding it under a table or putting it somewhere where you can hide it and then later use it, he said, nope, I'm going to swallow it. So he swallowed the cell phone. Apparently, it's a very small cell phone that made it through parts of his esophagus, down through his throat, but got stuck in his pylorus, the cone-shaped construction, that kind of area right around the beginning of the small intestine, and it had been there for 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
21 days.
He swallowed the cell phone?
Swallowed the cell phone, stuck in his stomach for 3 weeks. He has been, they were able to remove it. He is expected to make a full recovery, but they said, we're glad we caught it when we did, or else it could have had some very serious ramifications to his long-term health.
See, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. I thought the phone was getting in there a different way. And because how do you swallow
like the ring from Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Or watch, sorry.
Yeah. How do you swallow a cell phone?
I don't know. But apparently, for all you kids out there that are in prison,
if you're in a pinch,
no pun intended,
don't swallow it. Throw it. Put it.
Hide it.
Hide it. He did not swallow his cell phone. That is wild.
I was on a trip with one of my really good friends in high school, and his mom and dad were in the front seat, and we were in the back seat. and my buddy had already, and you know how small town Idaho is, he was already hooked on chewing tobacco. Like he had a chaw in all the time. But his mom his dad didn't really care, but his mom was furious with him. But we're in the back seat, and he's got a wad in, and I remember I had this 20-ounce bottle of Coke that I was drinking, and his mom's like, I have to go to the bathroom. Can you pull over at this next gas station? And my buddy's like, oh no, she's gonna see me with this, because he was gonna try to get rid of it before they stopped, and so he was a little concerned. So I hand him the Coke bottle for him to be able to spit it out in the Coke bottle. Instead, he takes it, swigs the Coke, and swallows it. and I'm like, what did you do? And he's like, oh, I thought that's... I'm like, no, I gave it to you to spit out.
Not swallow
it. And sure enough, like 10 minutes later, we're out, and he's just puking on the side of the road.
He's just losing.
Oh, it was miserable. And so obviously he gets caught and he gets yelled at, and I'm there like oh geez. And then they're like, are you doing it? And I'm like, no.
Scotty G, the bad influence.
I don't even know what that is. I don't know if it's Scotty.
No, I was not.
But one of the three of us.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to play these games, Lloyd.
Anyways. Swallowing a cell phone, chalk that up as one of the crazy whole world news stories.
Hans and Scotty, we're live here at Spa Trouvé. Courtney and the crew ready to help you out. Mother's Day is coming. Do not screw it up, because one thing we know about wives, they have good memories.
Yeah.
Oh, for like an elephant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will be remembered if you screw up Mother's Day. You cannot screw it up if you come here to Spa Trouvé.
Well, and on the flip side of that, give her the Spa Trouvé treatment, and she'll
remember that too.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
that's
the
a good point.
Way.
Yep.
Yes.
The Trouvé way.
Yes.
Hey, when you started the Spa Trouvé, where did the Trouvé come from?
So it was funny. We started back in Orem in 2011, and we bought out an existing spa and moved it across the street, and we were rebranding, and we had all this leftover silver paint. And so with my coworker, Casey, I was like, should we just, use this silver paint? And she's like, yeah, we can do some French stripes and a French name. We can do Eiffel Towers. So the original branding was these metallic French stripes with French chandeliers. And we were looking up French words, and Trouvé came up, and it meant to find or discover. So our tagline became Find Your Beauty. So it was, the sign was up in the lobby, and then little tagline was written underneath, Find Your Beauty at Spa Trouvé.
It came from saving about $150 in paint.
Exactly.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yes, you nailed it.
That is a great story.
Yes.
But now we've got the Spa Trouvé, and it's legendary.
Can you believe, does it feel weird what you and your group has been able to develop in less than 15 years, essentially?
Yes, it does. It's actually amazing. I think about it, and, just little miracles happening along the way, and meeting different people, and, but the big dream was always there. So I think when you have the big dream and you keep following the signs, then kind of leads you to this.
Well, Spa Trouvé, they separate themselves on a lot of different ways. I mean, the 6 locations make it really convenient.
Yes.
Really easy. So if you do get the gift card, no matter where you're at, whether you're in St. George or you're up north in Bountiful, you can use your gift card. The other way, I mean, just having been in a few spas, the other way I think that it really separates itself is it's just like it's the beauty of Spa Trouvé. When you come in, everything is perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Everything is in order. Everything smells amazing. Everything looks beautiful.
Thank you.
The people that you've got working at the front desk have gigantic smiles. They're excited to help. It's just from the moment you walk in, it really is a full-blown spa experience.
Oh, thank you. It's funny because the Trouvé way is actually an acronym for our culture. So, for example, like the T is treat people with respect and so on.
Okay.
So it's a real thing where we really do try hard to give that exceptional client experience.
Well, you do.
Thank you.
15% off gift cards now.
Yes. All gift cards. You can shop online. Go to shopspatrouvé.com. Enter in keyword The Zone, and that will give you 15% off all gift cards.
I think it's important people hear semaglutide in the news. You probably know of somebody that swears by it, that has changed their life. Celebrities are on it. Like this is a really dramatic way people are using to lose weight and get themselves back into the situation they need to be in for whatever reason, whether you just want to look better or there's health reasons. There's so many ways in which this can help. But people don't know where to start. They're like, do I go to my primary care physician? Where do I go to get it?
Right.
Can I afford it? Guess what? You can, and you can come right to Spa Trouvé.
Yes, and we offer telehealth. So from the comfort of your home, we can have our nurse practitioner or our physician assistant contact you and give you that initial consultation. We make it very affordable. So right now we're offering a 3-month membership. It's $250 a month, and included in that is a skin tightening treatment and also our lowest and best pricing on Botox and skincare. So what we found is a lot of clients lose this weight, they're rocking and rolling, they're feeling better, they're looking better, but suddenly they've got loose skin, their face is maybe looking a little bit more gaunt. So we provide the free skin tightening treatment with that service, as well as discounts on our fillers. So a lot will lose a lot of volume in their face and just need some filler touch-ups in their cheeks or temples.
Because if you lose a little bit of weight or you lose a lot of weight and you're like, okay, well, that was great, but I want to continue on feeling better about myself. You just don't leave them out in the cold and say, okay, well, you lost weight. It is be gone now.
Right.
Let's continue to get you where you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or where you want to be. Yeah.
Yep. And you can always reach out to our NP for questions. We offer those follow-ups and we refill prescriptions. So we really do take care of you and want to see you reach your goals.
Spa Trouvé, we're in Saratoga Springs, 1022 North Redwood Road, but you go all the way north, you're up in Bountiful. I mean, so many great locations. You're going to find one near you. If you're listening to us on the radio, you'll have a Spa Trouvé within driving distance. Get there now. Or you go to SpaTrouvé.com and you get the 15% off the gift cards. If you come here to Saratoga Springs, we'll give you free lunch. We'll hook you up with some sandwiches from Gandolfo's. You can't go wrong. It's all here at Spa Trouvé, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty G. That's right. Yeah! On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We are the crowd, we're coming out. Got my flash on, it's true. Need that picture of you, it's so magical. We'd be so fantastical. Leather and jeans, garage glamorous. Not sure what it means, but this photo of us, it don't have a price. Ready for those flashing lights, 'cause you know that, baby,
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Lloyd's a closet Gaga. Lloyd is a closet Gaga fan, and we all know it, and it is finally surfaced.
Who doesn't love a little Lady Gaga?
So, from now on... Oh, did you just raise your hand?
Yeah, I'm not no. Look, I'll
put me in that group.
You're a Gaga fan?
No.
Oh, okay. You're not. Yeah.
But I did love her in A Star Is Born.
Yes. Great performance in that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And her music in that was really good.
Yes.
And because I think she actually wrote a lot of that music for A Star Is Born.
I did not know that, but she's a great songwriter. I mean, she writes her stuff, so, respect the heck out of it, just not a fan. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not me being like, there's no way I would like, you know what? Taylor Swift, don't hate. I like Taylor Swift. Some catchy tunes.
Yep.
You like, what's her name? The Wizard of Waverly Place girl.
Oh, Selena Gomez.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not hating.
What's the Wizards of what? I don't know.
It was a Disney Channel show she was on. That's how she got her start.
Had no idea. I just, she came out with a song called Love You Like a Love Song, and it was real catchy. And then she came out with If You Want It, Come and Get It. And then she had another big one called The Heart Wants What It Wants. And I just fell in love with her music.
She's on I want to say it's on Amazon or Hulu. I can't remember which one of those platforms, but she's on a murder mystery show, TV show with Martin Short and what's his name? Steve
Buscemi?
No. Yeah.
Gutenberg?
No, Lloyd was late on it. Steve Martin.
Oh.
And it's Steve Martin and Martin Short. It's actually a really good show. It's like these two old guys and then her, and they're solving murders. It's actually pretty good.
Worth a watch. What you say is Netflix?
I can't remember. It's one of those 18 different platforms of stuff that you have to pay for now. It's like, oh, I'm not paying satellite, which was $120. Instead, I've got 15 different ones at $10 a piece, which ends up actually being more.
Oh, so ridiculous. The pains we suffer because people want to be innovative. We're going to save people thousands. No, you're not.
No, you're not. You're going to cost us more.
Yeah, you're going to screw everything up, and we're all going to get screwed. Because
death by paper cuts.
Yeah.
All right. So it appears that there's more coaching moves coming down the pipeline in the NBA hands.
So Darvin Ham is one that's expected, that has been rumored, and there's a lot of probably truth to it. And then everybody's up in arms over Frank Vogel and Phoenix and their early exit and not being able to win with Kevin Durant. And people look at Frank Vogel, and he's been a head coach of 4 different teams since 2012. He's been around. He moved around a lot. And his last team, the Los Angeles Lakers, he was just there in 2022. So he understands what Darvin Ham's going through. And there's been a lot of quote-unquote sports journalists that are trying to pin issues on coaches. And I thought it was really interesting because Charles Barkley, he went postal. This is Charles Barkley with the TNT crew expressing his displeasure with what's happening in the coaching world right now.
Also, you said you wanted to say something coaching.
Yeah, part of our job, we watch all the games and we watch all the talk shows. A lot of these people on television, they're cowards because they want the players to like them. They don't want to do their job, which is to tell the truth. And I just want to say this about coaching. Anybody who thinks the reason the Lakers suck is because of Darvin Ham or the reason the Suns suck is because of Frank Vogel, you don't know what you're talking about. Frank Vogel is a hell of a coach. Darvin Ham is a hell of a coach trying to get his career started. But for all you punks, idiots, and jackasses on other networks who want to be media and who want all the players to like y'all, do your damn job. The Lakers suck and the Suns suck because of the players. Has nothing to do with the coaches. I feel better now.
Here, I can tell. Looks like you getting that off your chest.
I did. I hate it, man. You sit there like Darvin Ham needs to get fired. Frank Vogel needs to get fired. Who put them teams together? Them trash-ass teams put together need to get fired. Them guys, they didn't just all of a sudden suck as coaches. People who put them teams together they start packing up their stuff.
Not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. I mean, there's actually a lot of depth into what he's doing, and obviously he wanted to go at somebody specific, and obviously he had this on his chest because he told Ernie, make sure you lead me into this. Yeah. Ernie didn't even know how to do it. He's like, what, you got something to say about what, coaching?
You want to say about coaching? Go ahead. I'm just going to let you do you.
And Charles goes into one of his epic rants. He's right, but this is where the problem lies. There's only one champion, and the Lakers ran into the buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I know you might be able to make more excuses and have more issues with what happened with Phoenix. Maybe people are just, I don't know. Maybe they're not being real reasonable on that. But I look at it and I think, you know what? There's one champion. And there's only one champion out of the West and one champion out of the East. And Phoenix bumps into a Timberwolves team that's they're just better.
Yeah.
Better design, better depth, really depth. An ability to defend against one of the better scorers in NBA history. And they just they hit the wall. So Charles went at the players because I think Charles feels like, what do I have to lose? I'll just go with players. They don't like me anyways. I really don't care. It's the players that suck, and it's the team. But, Scotty, the way I look at it, it's like, I don't know if the coaches really suck. I don't know if the players really suck. I know I'm watching the Jazz, and I'm like, there's some suckage that we could talk about there. But
I think Will Hardy's a good coach.
Yeah, I think Will Hardy's a good coach.
I think that roster is not built to win games.
I don't think it's built to win games. And if let's say they make it to the 8th seed next year. Let's say they play the play-in and they make it to the 8th seed and they bump into
Denver.
Yep. Or a rejuvenated and re-ready Timberwolves team.
Guess what? They're out in 5 games.
So what happens? Do we start saying Will Hardy doesn't know how to coach? Can't coach himself out of a wet paper bag? Is that what we start talking about? Or do we say, well, they've accumulated drafts and they got to make a move, and you just take a look at the overall picture. I don't know if it's all the coach. I don't know. I don't think it's all the players. I think it has to do with who you bump into. And Scotty, the truth is, Denver's going to be around for a bit. Minnesota's going to be around for a bit. I can't remember who it was that dropped the quote. He's like, everybody's young, and we got to get young, and then we got to bide our time. And if we're going to try to make a run at this and put money into it, I think it was – oh, no, it wasn't a Jazz personnel. But the quote hit me because of where the Jazz are.
Yeah.
The timing has to be right. But – you hit in the mid-2000s and you're running into Golden State. You can't get over that.
And there will always be that team because, LeBron was the young guy that was taking the league by storm. Now, then it was Steph, and then it was Durant. And so you go down the list, and all these guys that were just great. Well, guess what? They're now in their 30s. And now we have this new crop. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got, Anthony Edwards. You got Denver and their core young nucleus, and guess what? You're in Minnesota with what they're building there. So your best bet is to find ways to get young and get super talented, so you can have your own window of opportunity. But the problem is, if you're outside that window, like the Jazz, and we've heard, we knew it, we've said it, and Justin Zanuck and Danny Ainge have said this as well. Like, they could have pieced together that team and tried to make it work. Donovan Mitchell didn't force a trade. To as much as Donovan may have wore thin here in Utah, he never came out and said, trade me now.
In fact, I think it was pretty apparent he'd played out.
Yeah, I think the vibe was that he was going to play out his contract and then leave in free agency. He wasn't going to stick around and sign a new contract, but he also wasn't going to force a trade and make the situation worse. So you could have stuck him and Rudy Gobert together for a couple more years, kept Joe Ingles around, and won 48 to 52 games a year, and been in the playoffs and lost in the first, maybe the second round, but that was it. Or you can say, hey, look, it's not working. Shut it down, make the hard decisions, and move on. Phoenix, Matt Ishbia at his press conference today and said, oh, we're still in a really good place. No, you're not. You're in a horrible place. You got over $200 million of salary over the next 2 years on a bad roster that isn't going to win anything. So what do? Do you just eat it and just say, oh, we're still going to be a playoff team and we're still going to roll out our stars and sell a lot of tickets, knowing all along you have no chance whatsoever of winning a title? Or do you just say, okay, you know what? Let's make big boy tough decisions, shut it down, rebuild this thing? That's what the Jazz decided to do. Right or wrong, they're like, look, our window's closed. It was open there for a moment. We weren't able to get through it, so you got to make these tough decisions. The Lakers, same thing. As long as LeBron is there, LeBron is not only the star player, he's the head coach and he's the general manager. Whatever LeBron wants, LeBron's going to get. The only thing is there's no accountability towards him for when things go badly. So LeBron assembled this team. It's a team that he wanted. And guess what? It's trash.
And now it's a team that he's not even committing to being back with.
Yes.
They asked him in the post-game presser of the closeout, is this the last time we've seen you in a Lakers jersey? And he said, I'm not going to answer that. He won't commit to it. And he's talked about wanting to sit down with the family and make some big decisions, but now he's made this mess and he might just leave it.
Yeah.
So I would be very wary of being an ownership group that allows somebody to come in and dictate certain aspects of my organization, because they can leave it, and they could leave it in a complete mess. But to Charles Barkley's point, I think that everybody's got some blame, But when it all comes down to it, there's one stinking champion, and somebody's going to have egg on their face. Somebody's not going to win it.
Yeah.
But there's an owner that's sitting there with a $248 million cap/tax payout for the year thinking, what did I just buy? What did I just buy, man? I just paid Darvin Ham $5.5 million to coach a team to a first-round exit.
And how much is they're going to have to pay him to not work?
To not work.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it, and Charles Barkley actually tagged onto the back end of that rant. He said he's starting into his young career. Darvin Ham's in a very young career, and it's about to be curtailed. It's about to be crushed. You send him packing, I don't know when he gets his next opportunity. Might not. Because there is a stigma that comes with, oh, you coached LeBron and you didn't win a championship? You coached LeBron and you didn't get to a finals?
You coached LeBron and you didn't get out of the first round and lost in 5 games?
Is that not a stigma that sticks on you like skunk stink on the back end of a car after you hit it? And it's stink glands spread all over your exhaust?
Hard to get rid of that smell.
Well, yeah, because it heats up the oils.
Yeah. You ever been hit by a skunk?
No. And I don't want to be because you have to do the tomato juice bath, and I don't want to do that.
Miserable.
But that is a stink that's really tough for a guy like Darvin Ham to get rid of. And Frank Vogel has been around.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I know he's with the Pacers. He had a couple years with the Magic. He was with the Lakers recently, and I think he was done within 2 seasons. Maybe he had 3 with the Lakers. And you heard Charles Barkley defending Frank Vogel. I don't know. But I can tell you that it's probably more the players than it is Frank Vogel.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then I'd go further, and I'd say it's more the opponent that you ran into than it's Frank Vogel.
Well, we spent a lot of years talking about how great of a coach Steve Kerr was. Well, guess what? Steph's old. Clay's old and beat up.
Oh, yeah. And what
Draymond Green's old, and now he's not a good coach.
Yeah. All of a sudden he lost his ability to coach.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the talent. I remember talking to Rich Rodriguez at a Pac-12 media day when he was at West Virginia, and he had all kinds of great talent. He was a brilliant, innovative offensive coach. Then he goes to Michigan, and his talent level is not as high, and he's playing in a harder conference, and now he's a moron. So did all of a sudden he become dumber as a coach or worse as a coach? Or did he just not have the talent and a situation that allowed him to be successful? That's all it is. That's what it comes down to. Now, there's certain guys out there that are just elite coaches. I think Eric Spoelstra is an elite coach. He's won with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and he's won without those guys. Like, he's done a lot of just incredible things as a head coach. There are some guys that are just great X's and O's, smart coaches. But then there's other guys that just, like, look, I don't know how great of a coach Phil Jackson was. As far as X's and O's, I don't think he was that great. He had Tex Winters helping him out with the triangle offense, but on his own, I don't know how good he was. But you know what? He knew how to motivate players. He knew how to put himself in situations around great players, and he knew how to deal with egos. And because of that, he was able to win championships with the Bulls and the Lakers and find a way to get Kobe and Shaq to at least get along to a certain extent to win titles there. But at the end of the day, he had the best players in the league.
Yeah.
That's what it all came down to. Phil Jackson surrounded himself with the best players in the league of their generation, in their prime. Mm-hmm. That's why he won titles. He never allowed himself to be in a situation where he coached the Milwaukee Bucks or the Cleveland Cavaliers without LeBron. He wouldn't allow himself to be in those situations.
I think if we want to start judging coaching and really judging coaching, just take a look at what Doc Rivers did without his top 2 scoring players. He was able to sneak out an elimination win. In an elimination moment, he snuck out a win. And I think that we get to really see what coaches are about when they're put in tough situations. That's why, even though Will Hardy doesn't have the roster. I'm still watching what he has.
Yeah.
It still is impactful what he has.
You learn a lot more about a coach with a bad team than you can with a great team.
That's how I've always felt.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? We sit here and harp on Will Hardy. Well, all of a sudden let's say they make a gigantic move, and they're able to pick up Jimmy Butler because apparently Jimmy Butler's demanding the max contract extension, and people are reporting the Jimmy Butler era is done in Miami. Let's say they pick up Jimmy Butler and they put him together with a couple of pieces, and then all of a sudden Will Hardy finds himself in a Western Conference Finals, and it's like, Will Hardy was the guy. Well, what would be more impressive? That or Will Hardy finding a way to win with some of his draft picks, developing them over the next 3 years, putting a couple of free agent pieces together, but seeing a Hendricks and a George become prolific players and big scorers and running a certain system that the NBA is having a hard time dealing with. Like, the coaching genius thing is always tough for me because you're right. Your best coaches should be able to at least scrap together a few wins even when they don't have the big pieces. But it's never just one or the other. It's always spread out. But I do think roster makers are probably the most to blame.
By the way, you just had me thinking something there. If you're the Jazz, would you add Jimmy Butler on a max contract?
Yes.
I would do it tomorrow.
I'd do it tomorrow. If I had a shot with Jimmy Butler, I'd do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I still think I can surround him with some good talent, and he's a playoff dog.
Yeah.
And look, unfortunate, bad timing for Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Really bad timing. But Jimmy Butler's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And one of the more entertaining runs that I've seen was playoff Butler last year.
Well, and the thing I love about Jimmy Butler is that he's not an easy guy to be around as a teammate or as a coach or as a front office. I mean, there's a lot of stories. But that it comes from a place of wanting to win.
He's as much Kobe as you'll find in the league.
Yes, 100%. Is he a pleasant person? No, but he's of that ilk. Now, look, I'm not saying he's the same player as Michael and Kobe, but those guys were miserable to be around as a teammate. Why? Because they demanded so much out of their teammates. And some guys respond to that, some guys don't. I think that would be a really good figure to have in this locker room.
Well, yeah,
for the Jazz.
especially where you I know I've harped on this, and I'll hit it again. I don't know how many of the 3 draft picks that the Utah Jazz have in this upcoming draft that they keep. But my guess is it's going to be 2 or maybe 3 because of what we saw last year. They kept and produced all 3. So what you need is a role model. So whatever you bring in as a free agent, you better understand that these young, impressionable minds are going to sit there in the locker and look at everything they do.
Yeah.
Are they late for meetings? Do they talk back to coach? The stupid things with, do they thank trainers? Do they throw away tape? Do they wear professional level clothing? How do they handle themselves in front of the media? Do they avoid media obligations? All of these stupid little details, it leaks over to these young guys. So whoever you bring in free agency, you better trust that guy is what you want your team to be.
Yep.
Because you got a lot of youth, and you got a lot of youth that could come. Now,
very impressionable youth. Yeah.
Now, if we do see something like a Jimmy Butler move, well, then you might not have a lot of youth to come. You may have just emptied your account. And then you're like, okay, well, the youth that you got and those rookie contracts, do the most with them. And Jimmy, teach them. Teach them to fly, Jimmy.
Let that little bird fly.
Yeah.
2:28, Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, live here at Spa Trouvé. Mother's Day is just about 10 days away. You can't screw it up, and Spa Trouvé will not allow you to screw it up because they're giving you 15% off. Courtney's not messing around.
No, not messing today.
You know that guys aren't very smart sometimes when it comes to this.
We know this. There's a track record
Scientific evidence.
It is very true. So we're here to take care of you, gentlemen. We can make it very, very easy for you. We are offering some incredible Mother's Day deals to start. 15% off all gift cards. We make it so easy. All you have to do is go to shopspatreve.com, enter in keyword The Zone, and that will give you 15% off all gift cards. If you want to come in, we can make that gift card really cute for you. Put a little ribbon around it, put it in a bag. It's good to go. We also have some incredible specials on our skincare. If you purchase a hydrofacial treatment, you get a complimentary Elastin skincare product. Everyone loves that. It's our gateway treatment. We have 50% off laser hair removal. So many incredible deals. So come in for Mom.
Hey, Courtney, one thing I wanted to do was talk a little bit about some of the people that you have that run your different locations and that issue the treatments and
the best.
Yeah, the best. Talk about their training and talk about their retention and talk about what makes them the best.
Oh, yeah. Well, all of them are master estheticians. So there's an aesthetic license and then a master aesthetic license. And it takes quite a few more hours to get the master aesthetic certification. So they are all masters. And we have so many that have been here for years. Here in Saratoga, our lead esthetician here is Chelsea Roosh, and she has been with us for 5 years now. She has the cutest little son and is pregnant with her second one, and she knows her stuff. I have 3 brothers that live out here, and all of my sister-in-laws come see Chelsea here in Saratoga.
They're her favorite, huh?
Yes, Chelsea is their girl, so she is amazing.
I know a lot about the hours right now because I've got a daughter that's going through esthetician school.
Yeah.
And she's becoming a master esthetician. So, her hours go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and she's locked into that every day, every week until middle of November.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching,
intense.
she's coming home and she's exhausted and it's hard work. I want people to understand that in order to get those master esthetician licenses, these girls pay a lot of money.
Yes.
They go through a lot of strenuous training. They're tested.
Oh, 100%.
She's tested to the point where she's coming home and frustrated, but knows that it's important because she's going to be treating people.
Yes. Well, and I like to explain to clients, if you have an aesthetic license, you can do things like microblading and eyelashes and facials. But in order to run equipment like we have at Spa Trouvé, where you're doing skin resurfacing and laser hair removal and you're using, very expensive high-end technology, you have to have experience with that equipment, and you can only do it if you have your master's license.
Again, before we let you go here real quick, I want to stress this enough because I think a lot of people know about semaglutide. They know people have used it. They've seen the success stories. They want to use it, but they're not sure exactly what path to go, what recommendations. Do they have to call their own doctor? Well, you can keep that all in-house here at a really incredible rate.
Oh, it's so awesome. We just launched this weight loss program. It's $250 a month for 3 months. You can get a telehealth consultation with our nurse practitioner or our physician's assistant.
So from the comfort of your own home, you can get all that.
Yes. And then we send the medication to your door, and our NP or PA teaches you how to inject that on your own. Super easy. And along with that, you get a complimentary skin tightening treatment, and you also get platinum pricing, which is our best pricing on Botox, fillers, and skincare, which is up to 50% off.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's been a big hit so far. So it's very affordable. You're going to get quality care here at Spa Trouvé.
Yeah.
Don't mess around with that. We have the best of the best when it comes to NPs and PAs here. And like I said, you're going to get that free skin tightening, and no one's doing that right now. So it's a great opportunity.
It really is. And I think it's really cool that you're offering those other services as well, because it's not just about the weight loss. It's about supporting through the weight loss and the support and the help to go along with it to make sure you have access to the right physicians and the skincare to go along with it, because it's an entire process, not just a one-time thing.
Oh, it is. And you may need a refill. You may need to figure out how to taper your medication. I mean, it's a journey. It's not just something you start and stop. And that is why our NPs and our PAs are, certified and know how to do this, and they can help you through that journey.
Go to SpaTrouvé.com for more information on all of this and to get your 15% off your gift cards for Mother's Day. It's SpaTrouvé.com. Now, again, so many great locations up and down the Wasatch Front. We're here in Saratoga Springs. You come on by. We still have some Gandolfo sandwiches. You can grab one of those for lunch and grab your gift card. It'll all be wrapped. It's beautiful, and you just hand it to your wife.
And you're a hero.
And you're a hero.
While you're eating a hero.
Look at you.
Wow.
Well done by you.
I try.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Darnell Dixon, the Daily Herald. You saw the tweet. You've already commented. PK, the worst member of the media. I knew you found that entertaining.
You're still writing. Come on.
I am, and I wear it proudly. Just recently, Tina Turner passed. Simply the best.
Simply the worst.
When I go,
worse than all the rest.
So when I go, they're going to say he was simply the worst.
Well, at least they're reading it. If they're saying you're the worst, they hadn't read it, they wouldn't know, right?
That's the thing with me. They got these rappers, The Weeknd, Chance the Rapper. I'm the worst. That's what I'm going to go on tour, known as the worst. Let's go see the worst.
I'm buying tickets. I'm buying tickets to that. I appreciate your input, even if it is the worst.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10. Presented by Murdoch Hyundai, Utah's #1 Hyundai dealer for 16 years in a row. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of Sports Roulette. We take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel, we spin it wherever that little ball lands, what we end up talking about. Before we get to that, though, we got to give away some tickets. RSL in action as they take on the Seattle Sounder FC on May 15th, and I've got a pair of tickets. Actually, Lloyd's got them. Call number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. You will win those two tickets to go see RSL and Seattle May 15th at America First Field. So call now, get those tickets. Let's get you squared away. All right, Lloyd, fire up that wheel.
Andrei Kirilenko thinks your tattoo sucks.
Have you seen LaMelo Ball's back?
Oh, yeah.
It's an alien motif, and it stretches from the back of one elbow to the other side of the back of the other elbow, from the top, like the bottom part of the neck, all the way down to the love handles, and it's an alien motif. He's got a big alien head, and it says some stupid thing across the tattoo is absolutely absurd. And I just can't believe people do that to their back. When Andrei Kirilenko did it, was like, hopefully everybody will learn from that. LaMelo didn't learn. It literally is the most ridiculous back tattoo I've ever seen. I've seen some cool back art.
Does it say Dare? What is that?
Rare. Yeah, rare one.
Rare one, yep.
And then it's an alien.
Yeah, that's wow, that is something.
And then it says one of one, because he's one of one, Scotty. And look how that tack goes from the wrists all the way to the back, up just below the hairline, and all the way down to basically the butt crack.
Yep. Yeah, that's I like how you got the spaceship by the neck. I like that.
Yeah,
that is
be one of the few that does.
No, I'm being sarcastic. Boy, that is just awful.
Could you imagine putting that on your back?
That is just awful.
And thinking it's going to be there forever. I think people are getting a little bit more wise with tattoos, and I'm seeing some good art. There is some great tattoo art. This is not that.
No, that's not one that if LaMelo's like, hey, man, if you do this tattoo for free, you can use me as, promotional and say, and I'm like, no, I don't really want to promote to anybody that I did that tattoo.
That ain't it.
I don't want to tell anybody I had anything to do with that thing. When you're really young and you have a lot of money, I would never have done this at 21, 22 years old. But I also imagine if I had an incredible amount of disposable income at that age, I would do some really stupid things. And this is about as dumb and stupid as you could possibly get.
Yep. But they still do it.
What would you have spent your money on at that age if you had essentially unlimited resources?
A lot of travel.
Yeah. Which I would do now.
Yeah, a lot of travel.
I'm trying to think what I would do then that would be ridiculously stupid.
I would have loved to just gotten all over the world. In lavish jets and luxurious hotels and it just is beautiful stuff as I could do. Like that and eat good food. I'd have
See, that's why I think I would have spent it all on food.
A ridiculous amount on Wagyu steaks and trying some of the world's greatest stuff. Even though you pay $500 for a steak, you can get the same just by getting a ribeye and handed it to Scotty and saying,
I'm telling you,
give me some good grill on this.
Give me your choice steak from Costco, and I'll make you a hell of a steak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though that feels like it's $500 too right now.
Well, I still think there's some businesses that go buy their steaks in Costco and throw it on the grill for a minute and charge you $120.
Oh, yeah. All right. Spin it, Lloyd.
The Utah NHL team getting recognition.
Well, I want to get the fan base a little bit familiar with some of the trophies and some of the awards that are handed out for the NHL. And no better time to do it than right now because the NHL announced that Utah goalie Connor Ingram is a finalist for the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy for the 23-24 season. So, Scotty, I was thinking, all right, well, what's this trophy? The trophy is to the person that best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey as voted on by members of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. So in order to understand the significance of this award, I need to understand the significance of the Hockey Writers Association. I don't know how much they're revered or respected, but it does sound like this is one of the bigger awards that's handed out.
Yeah, and certainly one that to be in the running for it, to be recognized, is certainly a big deal.
One of just 3 finalists now. So it's not like we aren't watching the watch list.
No.
He's accomplished the feat. He has put in the time and the work, and he is one of 3 that could receive this honor next Thursday. No.
I'm not exactly sure when it's going to happen.
It was announced this morning. I don't know when they're handing out the award, though.
Yeah. In fact, there's a media availability going on, I think probably as we speak. Actually, no, at 3 o'clock.
Okay. It's right at the end of the show.
Yep.
With Connor Ingram?
Yes.
Good. So these are the kinds of things that you can look forward to. I just thought it was cool that Utah's got somebody that's being looked at with these honors.
By the way, Clayton Keller was a finalist last year for the honor.
Okay.
It's now time for
Watching
it's
not. No,
the Watch
it's not
List
time.
with Hans Olsen and Scott Gerard.
Are we getting close to that, though?
No.
Our watch list time?
We get, June, July is when that season hits. I think.
It's coming up on us. It just I was really excited. When you mentioned watching the watch list, I felt like it was time.
That's a little premature on the watch list.
You just like that song, Lloyd.
I so do. You know I do.
I know you do. But I'm happy for Connor Ingram. And this just goes to show Utah, this new NHL team they're bringing in, they've got some young talent that's being recognized.
Some really good young talent. All right. Let's go ahead. Spin it one more time, Lloyd.
NHL is lava hot.
So I watched my homework series, Scotty, the Las Vegas Knights and the Dallas Stars yesterday, and it was phenomenal. It was great hockey.
Yes.
Full of drama. And the first period was the best period of hockey that I've watched so far as I'm taking on these.
Really?
Yes. 4 goals scored in the first period. I believe 2 of them were scored off power plays. But now we're talking about Dallas stringing together 3 straight victories. So you had Vegas that started out with 2 victories.
Yep.
And Dallas has now strung together 3, and they're looking to close out the Las Vegas Knights. They scored, I believe the winning goal was in the 3rd, and it was one of those behind the net where they wrap around.
Yep.
They get the puck on the end of the stick, and he just flipped it around and scooted it right over the pad. Actually, the goalie's pad slipped behind the line. I think he tried to post it on the iron, and it slipped just behind them. And what I'm finding with these scores, they are a matter of not inches,
just
millimeters.
Yes, and that's what's so fun about it. And weird little teeny deflections.
Yeah, so Vegas scored first, and the first score was a deflection. And if you watched the first game and you remember that deflection, the very first goal that was scored in the series, it was that same deflection. And unless you watch it in super slow motion, you won't even see that one of the Knights players has his stick and just extends it. He sees it coming. It's a slap shot from about 50 feet. He sees it coming, slides his stick to hit a wobbling slap shot that changes the trajectory by, I don't know, 2 inches?
If that.
The way they deflect it, It's like, and it's just enough to scoot by these defenders. It is insanely tough to score at this level.
Yeah.
And when they do it, you're like, man, it is impressive that they're even able to do it.
LA Kings, their year is done thanks to the Edmonton Oilers as the Oilers get the 4-3 victory in a match that frankly wasn't even that close. Oilers put up 3 in the second, led 3-1 going into the third frame, and end up getting the victory there. So for the Oilers, they move on. The Kings are done. And coming up tonight, you got the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. That's my homework assignment. I will be all in on that at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. That series with Boston leading 3-2, but Toronto at home trying to get it to a Game 7. So it should be a lot of fun. Let's go. More hockey, the better. I am loving the playoffs, man. I am all about it.
Yeah, I would like a couple of Game 7s if I could get them.
Absolutely. All right, 2:50. We'll wrap this thing up. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Salt Lake is the newest home of the National Hockey League.
We want our NHL team. This is a hot spot in America.
And when the announcement was made,
this thing's going to be successful.
The Zone had it covered from every angle.
2 of the big 4.
From the draft, free agency, and all the way until the puck hits the ice in the fall.
It can't come soon enough. Let's go.
Your home for the best coverage of the NHL in Utah.
Utah is now the home of NHL hockey.
Talk about it right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah! We've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you.
Let them say we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall.
All right, fun show today. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Back with you tomorrow on a Friday edition of the show. And we will have the head coach of the University of Utah on tomorrow. Kyle Whittingham will join us.
If you didn't get an opportunity to catch that interview with Tim LaComb.
Nope. Oh, Kyle will be next week. Sorry. We will not have Kyle tomorrow. My apologies.
Understandable. Because I think we just found that out. But Tim LaComb was on, and he was talking about Chris Burgess and the new hire at BYU. If you're just curious about some of the inner workings of where Dave Rose was and what it was like for Tim and some of his thoughts about the new staff and the new hires and the new direction, Scotty, I thought that he gave some clarity and gave some pretty interesting direction on where they're headed with that basketball program.
100%. And some good background information. Also, a lot of conversation about the NBA as well. So, again, those conversations and the entire show, all the segments, hours, are available for you in podcast form. Just search Hans and Scotty on your podcasting platform of choice, and you'll be good to go. All right, speaking of good to go, Spa Trouvé is where we've been at the last 3 hours here. We'd love for you to come by. We'd love to see you in person, even though Hans and I are taking off. You can come by any of the Spa Trouvé locations, get your gift cards. They'll wrap it up for you. But you can also just go online and pick it up there. 15% off. 15% off, but you got to use the phrase "the zone" on checkout to get that 15%.
15% off those gift cards. Make it really easy and a great gift to give. You've heard us talking with Courtney. She's fantastic and passionate about the business. She started it back in 2011. She's now got 6 locations. They're all beautiful, set up incredible. They all offer every type of spa treatment that you can think of. And she talks about sometimes beauty is a little bit painful, and sometimes these treatments are a little bit painful. But what they do is they leave you more beautiful and feeling better about yourself. Whether that's the cool sculpting or it's the Botox or it's the hair removal, they've got so many options. And you can shop right there at SpaTrouvé.com. Trouvé is Trouve. That's SpaTrouvé.com. Take advantage of that, man. 15% off those gift cards. And, you know, she was talking about the semaglutide or the semaglutide offering that she's put out there, which is a great price, and it is great if you're looking to lose some weight.
And it'll get you there for sure.
Yeah.
It'll help make it happen. So all you have to do is go to SpaTrouvé.com. That's SpaTrouvé.com. All right, coming up next, JJ and Alex will take over. We'll be back with you tomorrow on a Friday edition of the show. Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.